Hey Penguin, thank you so much for your question. So before I get into how would you know you're initiated as a death doula, I think first and foremost there needs to be some recognition, right? That there are two forms of death doulas. So you have a physical death doula, which is someone that will assist someone in their final days, their final moments up until the point of death. So they're helping them if they're terminally ill, of course, if they're in hospice care, whatever have you, they're supplying them with comfort and ease um, in their faith needs, right? Maybe reading scripture or helping them in that regard, and then bringing emotional closure to all the things that have happened in their lives and or in their life, and they're making it easy for them, and they bring the person literally to the veil of death, to the moment of the last breath. And then they also assist with aftercare with the family and all of that. So that's surface on the earth. That's like the physical. They help with the end of the physical being. And then you have a spiritual death doula who continues with that soul and whatever spiritual uh, forces or systems that may have guided that person in their lifetime, and they will facilitate a conversation, so to speak, on the other side in helping this person get to where they need to go, crossing over. Now, everybody has a different belief system, right? But most death doulas have a broad and expanse understanding of the spirit realm. And so they can assist the person, especially when it comes to spiritual needs. If there are any karmic debts that have to be taken care of, they can do that. Now, they might open the way here on this side by maybe lighting candles, and then they'll start their communications that way. And then, they will then be told what to do by either their spiritual court and or the spiritual court of the now deceased, so that that person's soul can elevate and ascend to the other side as necessary. The prerequisite for being a spiritual death doula, in my opinion, would have to be mediumship. um Mediumship can happen at any time in someone's life. I don't believe that you can necessarily make it happen, but it can be triggered through certain circumstances to occur. And mediumship, although it is incorporated in being a spiritual death doula, just because you are a medium does not mean that you are a spiritual death doula. So a medium is a channel. A person's physical body, their senses are used by the spirit. Can they a medium can open the way, or spirit will sometimes force itself on this person, and we call that in some spaces being a horse. You are literally just a vessel, you are a vehicle, a channel, and spirit will use your body, use your senses to convey a message. The classification of a medium is that you are solely just using your body. They can't do anything. In my opinion, mediums can't do anything. Now, a priestess, a priest, a prophet, a prophetess, a sorcerer, sorceress, and a spiritual death doula can work in the spirit realm. Mediums, in my opinion, they cannot work. They just carry and relay messages. So there's that. I think also a prerequisite for being a spiritual death doula is that you would have had to have some form of death, either a shamanic death where you are something happens and you're triggered by the spirit realm, and the spirit wants to use you, and you have like this cataclysmic experience and you physically die. um and then you're like, wow, I came back and I have senses that are stronger than they've ever been. Or there may be some sort of outer body projectile that may happen, or some sort of collision that occurs between the natural world and the spiritual parallel world. And you're like, oh my God, I can see things, I can hear things. And we are now actively communicating, right? So, a spiritual death doula, you are protected, you are graced by the spirit realm, because there's a lot of conversation that occurs and you can understand and you can pick up. And these types of people, again, they are not bound by a certain pantheon. They don't really have the luxury of saying, well, I'm only a monotheistic believer of this path, and I'm only a practitioner of polytheistic whatever. Here you go. A true spiritual death doula is someone that knows how to, or they have been taught by the spirit in how to navigate the other side, and the entrance way has been death as the focal point. You would know that you have the ability to help people transition to the other side, primarily because if you find yourself always at somebody's transition point, if you're like, dang, I just caught this person an hour before they passed, or I knew for sure the last time this we spoke, this was gonna be like, I called the date, I called the time, you know what I mean? When you can pinpoint the time frame or the timeline of somebody's breath, I would say that those are key indicators, right? If you're someone who as a child you have always had experiences that to this day, I know I won't, to this day you will not speak on certain experiences that you have had. You have seen things move, you have seen people's spirits, like a loved one, especially an elderly loved one, you've seen their spirit either outside of their body or their spirit speaking to you while they were in a point of transition. That is a key indicator that you may be being initiated into being a spiritual death doula. It's really big, and it's not something that I can concisely give you information on, but those are just a few cues to help you. If you can feel things in your body, people's energy, not just their energy, but if you can feel their thoughts, if you incur their energy or their frequency in such a way that you can like telepathically see and hear and understand what's going on, that would be an indicator. That's also a sign of mediumship. If your mood gets affected, if you notice that when you are in somebody's presence and you start to feel a heaviness in your shoulders or your back, that's an indicator that you are a medium or could be on the road to being a spiritual death doula. And I'm going to stop right there. I pray that you will find your path along the way, and whatever you need to know, just ask Spirit will provide that information, especially if it's for you. Now, to answer your question about the cleansings, so there are 4 main types of cleansings that I've noticed that I have worked with. So I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget. So we have a sound cleanse, a smoke cleanse, an energetic cleanse, and a spiritual bath, which is the most common for people that work with the spiritual realm. I would say for the spiritual bath is obviously it's going to be hydro, so it's going to be the element of water. You're going to infuse some herbs. I would say though, if you are working with someone that's at the point of transition, and especially if you're coming from a hospital or a nursing home, put some pink Himalayan salt in there to help absorb the negative energy. Like, you should probably spray that on you before you get to the car. I would never leave a cemetery, nursing home, or hospital and not have a spray bottle on me and then enter a vehicle, because not only do these spirits, and again, you have to be careful about what you're allowing to come through, and you have to be vigilant, and you have to be bold enough to know that you have an authority if you are working in the realm of the spiritual death doula to put spirits in their place, because these spirits will attach themselves, and if you're in a car, they can cause wreckages if you don't close certain things, if you don't get certain things off of you, right? So then you have an energetic cleanse like Reiki. A Reiki attunement that I would suggest would be the Saint Michael. If you can find someone that can run that for you, that would be awesome. You can do a sound cleanse, gongs and high frequency bells. Keep this around you if you work with the spiritual afterlife. And then lastly, smoke cleanses. There's nothing wrong with smudging. I would never smudge using like frankincense, Palo Santo, or anything sweet. You have to repel spirits, right? So I would burn some rosemary if you needed to burn something to get it off of you. But these are all the things that you'll learn. I hope that this was enough clear information to answer your question, and I thank you, and I wish you well, and stay vigilant and protect yourself.